want to talk about a lot of movement and changes with GitHub's Copilot pricing. Now, GitHub Copilot has been a very big win for GitHub. GitHub Copilot now accounts for 40% of GitHub's $2 billion annual revenue. And while that is a big win, they have implemented their pricing in a very generous way. They started offering things for, let's say, $10 per user per month, where the same plan was being offered and started at $20 by OpenAI or by Anthropic. They have been historically very generous in their plans, but what they have recently done is that they're imposing usage restrictions on some of their most advanced capabilities in their Copilot plans, and they're implementing overage fees finally. Now, if you followed the videos on this channel, you would have seen us discuss the high inference cost AI products. And while we have also discussed that these inference costs have actually reduced 99.7% in the past 2 years, there are still newer models that when they come online, they cost far more than those ones that have dropped in price. And then you are going to build sophisticated workflows and systems where they're going to use up much more resources than some other models. So the fact that they are doing this makes sense because they have to keep an eye on their margin and they have to balance adoption with margin. But this change has, as expected, created issues with some customers who feel like this was not just the 300 premium requests, and we'll talk about what premium requests are. The 300 premium requests they get should really be on a per day basis rather than a per month basis. And this is, I empathize with GitHub because they're tying a fine line between placating these customers, but also making sure that they protect their margin, which is a very hard thing to do in terms of GenAI products. They are not a regular SaaS product. And making sure the math is done for each and every model and then transposed into their pricing page and making sure that the pricing page is simple enough is no easy feat. So I'm going to cover a little bit of this. I'm going to share my screen with you. But what I want you to remember is how they have implemented this model. This is called the traditional 3-part tariff. And their overage fees are a little bit different than what I would expect. So we're going to look at their pricing page and we're going to see how they've implemented this. And I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so now we are going to look at GitHub's Copilot pricing. This is their page, AI that builds with you, C plans and pricing. So the Pro plan, this is the one that has the most controversy, is only $10 per month, right? Or $100 per year. That is cheaper than as I discussed earlier, that is cheaper than pricing for other Copilots. Now within, and the Pro Plus is $39. Now, if I scroll down, I can see that you get unlimited GPT 4.1, all of that. I can see that I get a preview to the coding agent in this one. I get other models here as well, and 6x more premium requests than Copilot free. All right, with the option to buy more. This is the one that there is a controversy because they're enforcing limits. And what is the limit that they have? For the premium request, in the free plan, you can use up to 50 per month. And in the Pro plan, it's 300, and then Pro Plus, it is 1500. This is the feature that is most in contingent. Okay, let us look at what premium requests even are. So a request is any interaction where you ask Copilot to do something for you, whether it's generating code, answering a question, helping you through an extension. Each time you send a prompt in chat window, you're making a request. Premium requests are which require more advanced processing power or advanced features, right? And so all of these features are more premium: Copilot chat, coding agent, and so on. And then there are conversion ratios and multipliers for certain plans. In terms of GPT 4.5, that has a 50x multiplier compared to some of the other models. And some of the other models some of them are free, some of them are just 1x of a premium request. So 4.5 is definitely intensive. And it makes sense because they're probably buying this directly from OpenAI, and they in turn have a lot to pay to OpenAI, so they can't make it that cheap. Opus is also expensive. I've used Opus for some programming myself, and I've found it much expensive compared to Sonnet, and it is clearly demonstrated here that it's almost 10 times more expensive, and that is roughly how much Anthropic even charges. So I'm not very surprised. But as a pricing person, I have a critique on their pricing model. What they have implemented roughly here, if you just look at this top section, is that for $10 you get 300 of these premium requests and other stuff. So ignore the other stuff for now. And then for almost $40 you get 1500 of the premium requests. So what is the dollar per premium request in the Pro plan? If you buy the plan, you get $10 divided by this is 3 cents, 3.33 cents. And if you do it for Pro Plus, it is 39 divided by 1500, it is 2.5 cents. So you can buy additional premium requests as roughly 4 cents per request. That makes sense for the Pro tier actually, because the way 3-part tariffs are generally set up is you spend up to a certain point. After you use that much, then you pay a premium until you hit a point where it is more economical for you to buy the next tier. So there will come a point where when you are spending this much per request, that Pro Plus will start to feel more palatable. But the problem with Pro Plus is that they've kept the overage fee the same even for the Pro Plus users. That is the part that I actually think is a little bit unfair. So I want to contrast this with 11 Labs' decent implementation of a 3-part tariff. 11 Labs has these 4 tiers and a bunch of credits that you get. And after using those credits, you can pay overage for those credits. And so the inferred price, the ones that I just divided with you, is always going to be cheaper than the overage. But as you go to the highest tier, at least if you're not offering more tiers above Pro Plus, then it should be perhaps the same as the inferred price which OpenAI is doing. Or in this case, it could be marginally more expensive than the Pro Plus. The problem is that, let's say I started at this tier level, I applied the same overage fee to the more expensive plan, and that is the one that feels unfair to the people who actually upgraded to the top tier. I don't think that they're doing a wrong thing by implementing usage limits. Now, what tends to happen in any company when they're offering a lot of unlimited use is they get users that are not a good fit for them. They get users with lower willingness to pay. They get users that are not actually well suited to be in the Pro tier. Now, I would question whether a lot of thinking has gone into who should be in the Pro tier. If it has not happened, then you start to get this amount of complaining. And what's going to happen is most likely GitHub will say, we are okay with the people complaining because they were not the right users for Pro in any case. And the people who would be willing to pay would still pay. But that being said, they have to do something about the 4 cents per request for the Pro Plus tier, because that limits the Pro Plus tier, and they perhaps need another tier because as I was researching about the premium request, the criticism is valid. You could use up the request in one day and you're offering this for 1 month, and that is an issue. So this is why 11 Labs has price points starting from $22, which they discount down to $10, to $1,300 and more. I think GitHub needs to do something similar to help customers scale with them. I definitely think that they are limiting their upside because people are going to start to watch the meter on their overage. But if they provide more top tier plans, developers will be more comfortable paying. And since they would have already made the investment, they won't keep watching the clock or watching the meter on how much they've used. That is something that they really should fix to improve and update their pricing model. And that is my experience as a pricing consultant. So I hope they can consult with me, but in any case, I hope you learned a little bit about how AI companies should price and how they're pricing today. Thank you.